What's going on, people of YouTube? Your boy M Lee, and I'm here to give you guys my thoughts on the new camera I'm getting and the reason why I'm choosing this camera over the GH4 and over the Mark 1. I'm getting the Canon C100 Mark2. $6,000 camera, but it's the little brother to the C300, which is 16,000, and the C500, which is 24,000 to 26,000. Those cameras are industry standard cameras. Those shoot 444 color space natively, just directly without having an external recorder. But even with the C100 external recorder, it still only shoots 422 color space, but that's still good. That's still industry standards, and I can't explain to you exactly detail of what that is, because that's just something new to me as well too. I mean, I thought I knew everything I needed to know, or knew enough about camera settings and stuff like that and codecs, but I guess I don't, and that's good. I like to learn stuff. So I've been researching stuff and learning stuff every single day. So the Canon C100 Mark II. First, I'll be explaining why I'm getting the C100 why I'm getting the C100 instead of another DSLR like the GH4. Why did I bring up the GH4? And it's because a lot of people have been talking about that camera. That camera is super cheap. I thought it still was like around $2,000, but it's actually not. I looked on Amazon before I filmed this video, and it's like around 1,600. I'm like, damn, okay, it's way cheaper. And excuse me, and it shoots 4K, 1080p, 60 frames per second. I think it does 120 frames per second natively. Quote me if I'm wrong. And has a flip out LCD screen that everybody missed from the T3i. Speaking of T3i, let's talk about the T3i. That's where I started at. If you want to get a detail of where I started, check out my other video I did. I'm wearing the same stuff, and I got another video talking about, my film plans and purchases for next year. But the T3i is where I started at. Amazing camera. Everybody had that damn camera. That camera was so damn popular. The T2i and T3i. Now they did come out with the T4i and T5i, but those, was okay. But that's around the time people was drifting over to other cameras anyways. But the T3i, man, for the price, you get amazing video quality. That's why a lot of people used to love shooting on these DSLRs. If you want to match the quality of one of these DSLRs with a HD camcorder or something like that, you have to spend about $2,000 to $3,000 to match the quality of it. And I said that inside one of my old videos, so that's the reason why a lot of us filmmakers and film artists, and video artists, we film on these, because the quality you get with the different lens selections, you can, man, increase your productivity just by getting a super good lens and stuff like that. That costs two times more than the body, but the lens give you that extra clarity and that extra push to what you want to do as far as getting that certain kind of look to your video. These was, man, still is the way to go if you want to shoot video. So the reason why I upgraded to the 6D over the T3i is because the T3i, I simply grew out of it. Once I started getting better and better, I started to realize that I'm limited when it comes to some things. And the first limitation was the crop sensor. The sensor inside that bad boy is cropped, so it's like if I got a 50mm lens up on there, it's actually like 70mm, something like that. And so because everything is cropped, and this is a full frame. Not only is it like you actually get a 50mm focal distance, but not only that, it's good at low light. And so with the T3i, when I will film like nighttime stuff, I can go to like ISO 600 or ISO 800, maybe 1600 depending on the situation, but you'll still notice some grain inside the dark areas, and that's not good. So I had to go with the 6D, which puts the T3i to shame, and even the 5D Mark II and Mark III to shame when it comes to low light, because this was made for people that love shooting video with the T3i. So Canon made this bad boy for people that was shooting with the 5D, but want something that don't have many photo settings, but really dedicated to videographers. So that's why the focus system sucks inside here. And well, it don't suck, but compared to other cameras that's even cheaper than this, it sucks, because this wasn't meant for it to be a strictly photography camera. I mean, it still is, literally it is, but it's meant for people that like to use these cameras to shoot video. But the only thing Canon messed up is they didn't put the flip out LCD screen on this camera. But it puts the T3i to shame. At ISO 1600 on here, it's like petty. It's like nothing. It's like this camera laughs at me when I say it's 1600. It'd be like, dude, you better set me up higher than that. Like, what the hell? You downplaying me. So as you can see from the video behind me, you see the ISO settings I got and stuff like that, and ISO 4000, 4500 and stuff like that. And either no grain or barely any grain, you still get a super good usable image. And just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, the grain is just the fuzzy stuff in the dark areas, and then and it also depends on what you're watching it on, what you're watching the video on. But it's the little fuzzy stuff in the dark areas, and ISO or ISO is, you know, artificial light that the camera creates by bouncing from the light that's already created inside the scene. It brightens up, you know, everything and stuff like that, and allows you to get a brighter image. But you're sacrificing things, like you might end up getting noise inside your image, or you might end up getting, you know, a less of a sharp, more of a softer image. It won't be as sharp as it would be if you didn't crank the ISO up. So some cameras can handle it, some cameras can't. And this puts the, like I said, this puts the T3i to shame. But what this does to the T3i is the same thing the Canon C100 camera does to this camera. You know, the C100, I can set the ISO to 20,000. You know, not just 4,000 or 5,000 ISO, 20,000 or 30,000, and it'll still be on par and better image quality than this camera. You know, so that's one of the main things right there that I love about upgrading to, you know, the Canon C100 Mark2. And like I said in my other video, the C100 Mark2 is $6,000, and then C300 is $16,000, and the C500 is like $25,000 to $26,000. So I'm settling with the C100, and here are the reasons why I'm getting this camera over something like the GH4, even though the GH4 is like less than 1/3, almost 1/4 of the price. Is it 1/4? Like almost, yeah, around almost like 1/4 of the price of the you know, Mark II, C100 Mark II. But I'm pretty much done with DSLR filming, you know, completely. And the first reason is, which this pretty much can explain the whole video right here without me explaining anything else, it's an actual video camera. It's an actual video camera. Not only that, it's an actual video camera dedicated for the fans of shooting with a DSLR. The hand grip is like the DSLR. The record button is right here or whatever. Even though the record button on the back of DSLRs when we do record video is right here, but they put the record button right here so you can feel at home like you're having a DSLR in your hands, because people love, once you get used to using a DSLR for filming, you just love it. You just love the feel of it. You love all the buttons on the body. You love how it is. So Canon is so damn smart. And so they made it look like a DSLR, you know, so that can have people gravitate towards it. And that's what, so it's like it's like a video camera, literally a video camera made for DSLR filmers. Next thing, better quality than a DSLR. And that's saying a lot, because these bad boys are so sharp and crisp, but that's the issues with these. Like, they got that digital look to them. And at first I didn't know what people were saying, but after you've been filming for a while, you start to realize that you want more of a film, dreamy, more of a, you know, that TV look. And this does look good enough to be on TV, but it's just something about these other professional cameras that's like actual video cameras, not DSLRs that can shoot video. When you actually have a super detailed image from a video camera, it's such a big difference. It's like, it looks clear, but it looks clear on top of looking clear. And it looks like that, something about the motion of video cameras versus the motion of DSLRs. Even though you can set the frame rate the same, it's still something about it that makes it feel and look, and just, it makes it look so damn different. So that's a good thing. Better quality than a DSLR. And there's been a lot of cameras that's better quality than a DSLR, but it wasn't really quite what a lot of us fans wanted. People that shoot video, that's not really what we wanted as far as, you know, what those cameras were. 420 color space. I think that's better than a DSLR. I think DSLR do 400 or something like that. Like I said, I'm still learning about that. So, yeah, so 420 color space and stuff. But for TV broadcasting, you need 422. That's the standards. But using an external recorder, HDMI plug up to an external HD recorder, you can achieve that. Amazing low light performance. I already mentioned that already. And I say amazing, I mean amazing. It's like having a DSLR with autofocus, you know. So like I said, the body of it, the shape of it's like a DSLR, and just to have the fact that it comes with the built-in autofocus, you know, and you can use it with the Canon lenses, because normally to have real good autofocus, you have to have like a camcorder that has a fixed lens where you can't take the lens off. But since this camera and a lot of other cameras, it has it where you can take the lens off and it does amazing job at autofocus. It's regular, autofocus, and it's not the best, but it's good enough, especially for what I'm going to be using it for, because I'm going to be using it for like when I film myself. As long as I'm in the center of the screen, it's going to focus on me without me have to set something right here so I can focus inside that area and then sit back down, make sure it's inside focus. I don't have to do all that. Or have somebody sit right here and focus on them, and then I come sit down and then press record. I don't have to worry about doing all that. It just automatically focuses and stuff like that, which is a good thing. Also on my camera crane, I've been wanting to shoot some amazing video with this on my camera crane, but I've been using my prosumer camera instead, the Canon Vixia HFG30, because it has autofocus. When you got a camera on a crane, there's almost, depending on what you're shooting, it's kind of hard to pre-focus and then start filming and lifting the camera up in the air and moving it around, because it's just, once you move it inside a certain area, certain things are going to be out of focus because there's no autofocus. But now I can have something with some super crisp images that can autofocus on things that I'm like moving the camera up to, so that's real good. Let's say for example, I got the camera up high inside the trees or something like that, and it's focused on the leaves, and then I can move it down, and then now it's below the tree, and now it's like it can focus on what's in the background now. But with a DSLR, if I focus on those leaves and then I lift the camera up in the air, and then once I lift it down, it's gonna be out of focus. It's not gonna focus on the background all by itself because there's no autofocus. Now I know there's other DSLRs that do have the little focusing system built inside of it, but it doesn't do a good job like a video camera would. Not even on par with the C100. So the two most important things that I told myself, and I said, when I get a new camera, it gotta have these two things no matter what: built-in ND filters and amazing dynamic range. I think this camera has 8 stops of dynamic range. I'm gonna explain that in a second. But first, let's talk about the ND filters. The ND filters are pretty much, like somebody has said before, sunglasses for your camera. So let's say you want to have a super blurry background but have your subject in focus. When you set your settings like that, everything is going to be super bright if you're inside bright sunlight, because I'm not going to go into the details of why the camera gets super bright when you do that, but this is for the people that already know about filming, or know enough, or know a decent amount. So basically, if you want to have that super blurry background, you need like ND filters, because the image is going to get super bright. So basically, you can twist this little wheel on the side, or I think this one, the Mark II it has a button to cut up and down. Or you can, which I already do have, the twist on ND filter that's go on your lens, but that's so fumbly and that's like waste your production time. When, oh, hold on, let me put the ND filter on here real quick. So you got to get your camera bag out, twist that up on there, make sure there's no dust on it, then twist it back off, set it back in the packaging, put it back in your bag, and you're wasting time. So, and that's why I said I have to have that dynamic range. Man, I knew it was something. Before I even learned about what dynamic range was, I used to always watch certain YouTube videos shot with professional cameras, and I could not put my finger on what was making that camera look like a damn movie. What was making it look like TV? And I couldn't understand it. I didn't know what it was. It was dynamic range. What dynamic range is, just to give an example, have you ever tried to take a picture of someone in front of like the beach water? They're standing in front of the beach water, you're trying to take a picture. What happens? Either they are well lit in the background and the water and everything is super bright, or either the water and everything look real detailed with the seaweed you can see inside the waves, and they're super dark. And then you would have to like take a reflector to bounce the sunlight off of the reflector to them. And even with that, it's still kind of hard to achieve a little bit. With video, at least photos you can kind of mess around with it a little bit more, but with video that's kind of hard to do. Take a video of somebody in front of the beach water and have both of them properly exposed. But with dynamic range, you're able to the camera is able to pick up a lot of detail inside the dark areas and inside the bright areas without anything being overexposed or underexposed. So not only are you getting that person properly exposed without being too dark, you also getting the water properly exposed without being too bright. So it's kind of, I needed those two features inside my next camera. Better sound recording options. Even my camera that I'm using to film myself right now got options like that, and they got the little other model that got the little handle on it, and they got like all these little sound settings. You can plug up all kind of different external microphones, and that's what I need. I'm gonna use the sound options on the camera that has it has so many different sound options. It's ridiculous on the handle of the Canon C100 Mark2 and the regular C100, and hooking up an external microphone on there is going to really be a big deal to your production value with all these different settings you can do. And I've been learning about audio because I'm not real good on audio, so I've been learning a lot, watching a lot of YouTube videos and stuff on how to set different levels and what's the best settings and shooting situations and stuff like that. It has a solid build. Now, I haven't touched it or seen it in person, but if I probably did, I'd probably faint and probably lose my damn mind right now. But yeah, from what I've been seeing and what people have been saying, it has a solid build. I like the fact that you can just set it on the ground. Not set it on the ground, but like set it down on something. Even with a long lens up on there, like the 24 to 105, you can just set it down and just it stays up. You don't have to worry about having it on something or having it attached to like a shoulder rig. You can just set it down. Unlike this, you can't really do that much with a DSLR. You can't really set it down. That the C100 actually has kind of like a foot. So it's like, little stuff like that I love. And another thing, it can be completely used handheld. Now, DSLRs, you can use these handheld too. When I first got my T3i, that's how I shot my videos, just like this. That's all I had. Bam. And I was getting real good angles too, but it's kind of like the hand grip ain't big enough to hold it like that. It don't have no top handle, even though you can buy a top handle for your DSLR if you want to. But the C100 comes with all that stuff already ready for you. It's ready to go. You can take that camera and don't take no other equipment if you don't want to. Maybe a tripod, and that's about it. You don't have to worry about taking those LCD screen, shoulder rig if you don't need one, and just handheld shots. You can hold the handle, get different shots, hold the little hand grip, and do all kind of stuff. The hand grip is one of the things that really, man, that thing. And then you can take all that. You can detach all that stuff. You can detach the hand grip. You can detach the top grip and everything, and just have the camera. And it's much more smaller. So let's say if I don't want all that weight on my crane, and I don't need all that extra stuff while I'm shooting crane shots, take all that extra stuff off to lower the weight a little bit, even though my crane can handle a decent amount of weight. But if I don't need all that extra stuff up on there, bam, it breaks down to a smaller form factor. Amazing battery life. The battery life on there, I think somebody said 8 hours or 7 hours. Maybe I think it's like 6. I was somewhere between 6 to 8 hours, somewhere around there. The battery is huge and the charger is humongous, but I mean, production batteries are like big, like these $30,000, $40,000 camera batteries be like that big and like that thick, and it's like right attached to the back of the camera. So it's real, it's crazy. But those batteries be lasting for about 30 hours. Now I'm going to give you guys the reasons why I'm choosing this bad boy over the Mark 1. Now I was going to go with the Mark 1 originally, but the Mark 1, because the Mark 1 is $1,000 cheaper, I can save $1,000, but I decided to go ahead and, when I do get this camera, go ahead and pay the extra $1,000 for it and, go ahead and get the Mark 1. And the reason why is because, it's the same thing how when I had the Canon Vixia HF G10, the same thing like when I switched to the G30. The G30 got a better eye cup, a better build quality. There's a lot of things about the G30 that's better cosmetically than the first one. So it's like a sequel to a game or sequel to a movie or something. The second one always supposed to be the better one, or is always the second one always going to be or supposed to be the better one, because it's supposed to fix the things that was kind of downplaying the first one, but also keep the things and don't touch the things that was good. So that's pretty much what it is. Better eye cup, like I said, than the Canon C100. Way better eye cup. It has a solid red record button, so that might not be a big deal to you, but it's cool to have, because like, let's say if you want to shoot and you got somebody that's not really familiar with cameras, but you tell them to press the record button, I mean, the button, that's the only button that's solid red. And everybody can relate to the big red button. Like, what did that button do? And there's always a red button when people, can relate to that. So, Canon is smart when it comes to that. So that solid red button for record is right there. It pops out. So, and the whole body is black. So that's a good idea for them just to make that whole button red. MP4 codec. MP4 is much more easier to work with inside editors. On Mac, it's way easier to work with. You can just drag your files directly into your editor, drag your files directly onto your computer without importing them. With AVC HD, you got to import them and stuff like that. And I edit on Mac and PC. Haven't been editing on my PC ever since I got my MacBook, but I still be doing stuff here and there. On PC, it's not that big of a deal, but on Mac, it is. So MP4 works amazingly. Also, this camera has a slightly better sensor than the Mark 1. Slightly better image quality and slightly better low light performance. Also, it has a better articulating screen. Now, the Mark 1, I was going to settle for the Mark 1 because the articulating screen, at least I can lift it up and I can get low shots, especially when I got the camera on the crane. I was like struggling trying to see what I need to see when I had this camera on the crane, because you got to bend all the way down to where the LCD is or lift the camera up so you can see it. But then when you lift it back down, it defeats the whole purpose, because now you gotta make sure that it's inside focus, and you gotta look all down, or I gotta keep walking back and looking at the LCD screen that's on back of my crane, and then walk back up, set the focus a little bit, and walk back. Now I can just do everything right there, and I can even like be in the front moving the camera up and down, which I've been wanting to do, but I can't do it with this camera. Now I can be in the front moving the crane around if I want to. If I don't need to lift it high up in the air, I can be in the front focusing and looking at the screen. I can have it like this, and I can have a screen turned out this way. The Mark II has a screen that flips out like a regular camcorder. It can face you while you got the camera recording you. It can turn against its body, or it can turn the traditional way, or it can flip out and turn backwards, and it's good, man. And it's an OLED screen. I think the Mark 1 didn't have an OLED screen. It was just a regular LCD screen, so that's a big upgrade. Also, 1080p 60 frames per second, which is something that the Mark 1 should have had. They're trying to keep the price down for people that want a professional camera but don't got the budget of $16,000 and stuff like that. And so I don't have the budget of $6,000, but I'm still gonna get that bad boy. I gotta sell some stuff, save some money, but hey, gotta do what you gotta do when you got a passion for something and you want to start doing like more and more professional stuff, commercials and all kind of stuff. I can still do it with this camera, but that camera it'll make my production go so much smoother, because the articulating screen, all kind of stuff, even the eye cup. That eye cup is good because like I've been inside situations to where like the sun is bouncing off your face and stuff, so you're thinking that your exposure is too low, because even though the LCD screen is bright enough so you can see it, sometimes it still feel like your exposure is too low, so you end up turning up the exposure some more, brighten up the image, over brighten it a little bit, and you realize, damn, I didn't have to even do that because I had the perfect setting already, but I end up cranking up the exposure and because of the light. But when you're looking through an eye cup, you can literally see, it feels like you're looking at a movie when you're recording, so it feels much better. And last but not least, you can use any Canon lens on this camera. And if you are using Canon lenses, I recommend just using L lenses only. What's the point of you using that's like having a Ferrari with a Volkswagen's Beetle engine inside of it. Like, what's the point? It's like, so what's the point of using like a $300 lens or a $400 lens on a camera like this? That all you're gonna do is get a $300 or $400 image. Now, if you use a $1,000 lens or a $2,000 lens up on this camera, then you're gonna get a higher image. There's no point in having a camera body that can output so much detail from its sensor and stuff like that, but then have a low quality lens with cheap glass that can't keep up with the camera itself. So you want to make sure that you have the right glasses on your camera. You want to be able to see properly. So with that said, man, that's going to conclude my video. Thank you guys for watching. I also made another video, like I said, talking about my film plans and ideas for 2016 and stuff. That one's a little bit more longer than this video. I went into a lot of detail and stuff, talking about different things and stuff like that, and how I got started and things of that nature. So thank you guys for watching. It's been your boy M. Lee, and I'm out. Peace.